Hey, what's good, everyone? So, I decided to do a new series called Road to 1000 on DuelingBook, which is I am trying to get to 1000 ranking and or place in the top 200 leaderboard on DuelingBook before the season restarts. So, I am using Zombie Eldlich, and the way this is going to function is basically every 100 ranking I rank up, I will be posting the compilation of videos that helped me get to it. So basically, it's just going to be 100 to 200. I'll post those 200 to 300, 300 to 400, and so forth. So without further ado, let's get onto the video. So as you see, this is a brand new account, 100, 0, 152 for my opponent. This is going to be low rated, so there are going to be some questionable plays, but obviously it's going to get tougher further on. So this is Zombie Eldlich versus Tri-Brigade. So he starts off with Fractal, send Kit, send Nerval, then Nerval, add Kuraz. So this was a interesting line of play here. He could have gone for the Appaloosa plus Revolt play, but for some reason he decided to normal summon Kuraz, banish 3, and a single Valor and or Gamma just would have ended his entire turn right there. Not too sure why the opponent chose just to do the Kuraz, but I guess it is low rated, so you can't question too much. I start off my turn. I Prosperity, hoping to get into a Cursed Outland and or Golden Boy. Luckily, I did hit the Cursed Outland. So, my mind, I was thinking that this might have been a Revolt that he had set. So what I'm trying to do here is just trying to make him activate it. I'm basically forcing my opponent to know his rulings and see it, because this is low rated, to see if he is going to respond to the zombie world. Since zombie world only affects a graveyard, I was thinking, oh, maybe he thinks it's also banished as well. But obviously, he didn't activate it. So at this point, I'm like, it could be a nerve, it could be a revolt, or it could not, because he'd only be able to go into link 3, so I wasn't too worried. I just did Golden Lord at this point, discarding Conk, and I saw it was a tanky, so not too much there at this point. I knew it was kind of hard to lose, so I just summoned Lord from Grave, summoning Outland. Outland effect, send Walk. Since I did not want to draw it later on, accidentally added Kurt's Outland to hand. As you see here, I put misclick. So from here, normal summon Uni. I just sent another Banshee here, since I knew Banshee is basically FTK against Tri-Brigade, since they cannot play at all under Zombie World. I link off into the Helki Fibrax, summon Bloom, link off into Link Karibo, Bloom effect, go get Baylor Drock onto the field. And I proceed to go into the battle phase, and as you see, there is going to be a slight misplay here, well, a ruling error. He was under Prosperity, since I did activate that earlier this turn, but it really did not matter at the end, just due to me having so much board presence, and there was nothing he could have done about this. So from here, Link go into Vampire Sucker, set Order, end phase, I just do Banish Walk, set Sanguine, and I pass it over to him. He wants to go right into the main phase 1, as you see, and he lets me do the draw 1 off of Sucker. As you can see, he did go back, guessing he didn't know about Doom King's summon effect. But from here, I draw into another Sanguine. This wasn't that good, but at this point, it was just GG's. I was just waiting for him to scoop, but he decided not to. He wanted to play it out. Thought this was interesting. Basically knowing he couldn't have done anything about this. Kuraz effect, discard Kit, summon himself. He normal summons the Kinabayo, which basically it just summons a level 1 target in his grave, which he did have the Nerval. This would have, I negated this with Baylor Drock, and at this turn he just scooped. So that was game 1. Game 2 was interesting, since I know I was going up against Tri-Brigade. I just didn't know how good the player was. since his turn 1 play wasn't too optimal. I saw he summoned out Warbler, and at this point I'm thinking his Leerless Tri-Brigade until I see him summon the Gesture Confit. I'm starting to think this is probably not an optimal build of Tri-Brigade. So he detaches one with Starling, goes at DD Crow from the deck, and at this point I wasn't paying too much attention, if I'm going to be completely honest. He summons out the King Cabello Reborn's Wobbler, links again into another Starling effect, go add another DD Crow, and I did see him add that one, not the first one though. I probably should have checked the logs, that was my fault. And he just goes into a Utopic Draco Future. He sets the Cosmics and he passes. So what I'm trying to think is I need to draw into a Veiler at this point, or basically, yeah, Veiler, Super Poly. I need to draw into something just to try to be able to out this Draco Future. So I started off the turn with Curse Outland. He Cosmics. It was able to bait that out. So I then do Lord to try to send his Draco Future. He obviously does negate. I then summon out Unizombie to discard the Banshee in my hand. Then send. Then here I will send Bloom effect to banish, summon a level 5 Fire Zombie. Then I just chain Banshee, activate Zombie World. Now I'll be able to get a summon effect, summon out Veiler Drock. From here, I am trying to think of the best play, and I should have played this out better. I really wasn't thinking too much about this. I forgot about the DD Crow while I did attempt this, as I was going to do Lord, send Strike, Veiler Drock effect to banish the Draco Future, but he didn't have the Crow, so that messed up a good amount of this play. So at this point, I knew I was into the grind game, sadly enough. So I just go into the sucker and I'm thinking, oh, standby phase, I'll just be able to Veiler Drock banish the Draco Future. So with sucker, I reborn the Crow to draw 1. I draw into the Veiler, so at this point I'm sitting more comfortable. I know now when I get my Eldlich engine rolling, I will be able to deal with this Draco Future. So end phase, walk, banish itself, set Sanguine. At this point I'm feeling more comfortable. Standby, I go to activate Veiler Drock, and this is when I forget about the second Crow. I thought he only added 1 since I wasn't paying too much attention, and I unfortunately ate that. It didn't matter too much. Just at this point, I wasn't too sure what I was gonna do to be able to out the Draco Future. I was just hoping he wouldn't out the Zombie World. So Fractal Battle Sucker, I was thinking of doing Sanguine to at least get the draw, but I really saw no point in that, so I just let him attack. Then end phase, I activate Sanguine, since I don't want my Lord to have got destroyed, and since I know next turn I'm just going to get Conk. Drawing to an Ash, not that good. So only thing I really can do right now is just Golden Lord beat over it. It's Fractal. I just go into another Vampire Sucker. Sanguine effect, banish itself, set a Conk. Then Lord effect, just trying to bait out the negate again, since I know Conk end phase will just set another Sanguine. And I'm also just trying at this point to also dig more deeper with the Vampire Sucker to see if I could have drawn into a Super Poly or anything. But as you see, I just draw into another Conk, which luckily enough, this was like the best draw I could have had this entire turn, since Conk just banishes end phase to set a Sanguine, and I have the Veiler. So at this point, I was able to fully out the Draco Future. On his turn, he just links off the Crow into a Link Karibo, activates Tanky, goes add another Fractal, normals it, end of main phase 1. I activate Sanguine since I want to get the Golden Lord out and see if he's going to bite off the sucker draw. Luckily enough, he does. And this is where I'm able to chain Effect Veiler on it. I get the draw. And then on resolution, I am able to activate Conk. Well, on resolution, but in battle phase, to just finally get rid of that. At this point, I know I'm at a winning game state since, as I said earlier, Zombie World is just an FTK against this deck. So at this point, I am just trying to get as much damage on the field as possible, but I just take it slowly since obviously my hand is Solemn Strike, Ash, plus a Sanguine and Conk. I do not know how Tri-Brigade really will out this. As I said, Zombie World just completely destroys this deck. Doesn't really draw into much. He just sets a Kit Pass and phase Sanguine. I just get Unizombie out. Draw into Duster, not doing much at all right now. Lord beat over him. This time he wants to activate Kit. Kit accidentally added Nerval to hand. Well, he was supposed to be sent to grave. Nerval add. I really saw no point in ashing this. And I just proceed to attack. But main phase 2, I just send another Banshee in case he drew into something. It really wouldn't have mattered at this point. And go into a Vendred Slayer in case he has a monster big enough to attack over it. That's one pass. Draw into a Twin Twister. Isn't doing much at all. So I activate Conk. Don't activate its effect. Go into a BLS Soldier of Chaos. I set the Twin Twister that I drew since I know it's not doing anything. Golden Lord effect from grave, sending it, adding to hand, special. And at this point, this is just game. Yeah, attack over it, then Lord for 35. So yeah, that was game 1. So with game 2, there's not that much gameplay to show. As you were able to see, I did win the last match, 119, 251. So, opponent wins rock, paper, scissors. He chooses to go first. And this is what I love about low-rated Dueling Book. He is playing a 50-card Dark Magician build. No surprise he breaks. I activate Cursed. Pay 8, feel great. I go to get Golden Land Forever, since I was going to try to end on a Sanguine Conk with a Forever. And as soon as I activate Lord effect, opponent has left the duel. So, not much to say there. Very easy match. So, on to the next one. So, with game 3, it's somewhat similar to game 2, except just a different deck. So I keep on losing rock, paper, scissors. Feels kind of bad, but opponent gets to go first, and he is playing Quantums. I don't even know what these cards do, but he activates 1 for 1, sending Alphen to summon an Alphen. So this basically tributes itself. And you can reveal 3 super quantum monsters with different names from your deck. And then I randomly pick one and they special summon the one I pick, and the other goes to the graveyard. So on summon, I just Effect Veilered it. Didn't know what this deck really did. He then normal summons Blue Layer. Blue Layer goes at any super quantum card, adds a field spell, activates it, discarding it, targets the Blue Layer to go into a Ground Pulse. Sets 1, pass turn. So I activate Curse Outland, pay 8, feel great. I go ahead and add Lord, but as you're gonna see, this doesn't matter since opponent apparently said I was playing too fast. So everything has to go back into the deck because he was going to chain Ground Pulse to the Curse Outland to pop it. I did not know Ground Pulse could be during either spell your turn if it had a Blue Layer. First time I have actually read that card. besides the first two sentences. So all I did was activate Curse Outlands effect to dump the Walkero to get the Sanguine end phase, since I did have the conk in hand. But I summoned Uni. He responded with an imperm before I even had the chance to activate the effect. So I attack over the Elfin. Main phase 2, activate Zombie World, set conk, end phase, banish walk to set the Sanguine. His turn, he draws, and he just quits. Again, very easy points. I'm now at 162, and I am just getting closer to 200. With the fourth game, there is not that much exciting action to say. This was more of a grind out duel than anything else. As you see, still lose rock, paper, scissors, but I have no idea what he's playing. At first, I thought it was Trick Stars, but as I later found out, I think it's just some burn deck or a draw deck. I don't even know. Standby phase activates reincarnation, banishing my entire hand. I then redraw again, and at this point he activates another reincarnation, so I'm thinking he has a draw, and I'm about to get hand looped for 6. So I just responded with the Ash, but he had a mind in hand and not the draw. So this is going to be a bit of a grind, since he did get some very sacky draws. But I activate Outland, pay 8, feel great, and Golden Lord to hand, Lord effect, setting himself, and Golden Land forever, getting rid of the Book of Eclipse, sending Curse Outland to grave, summon Lord, then activate Curse Outland effect to go send Conquistador from the deck. I just almost summoned Banshee to try to get some damage in, 53 directly. At this point, I think I am in the driver's seat, and then I see him flip up Legacy of Yatagarasu. And I then realize, oh, this is going to be not a real functional deck. As you see, I accidentally lagged out, but I got back in. So I set the Called by, end phase, conk, banish itself, set the Sanguine from deck. Now, on his turn, he extravs, banishing 6, draws 2. At this point, I flip up a Sanguine, and then get the Banshee effect to activate Zombie World, since my thought process was to get out Baylor Drog, since I knew Trickstar can't really do much against 1 negate. And again, in my mind, I'm thinking this is just a Trickstar burn deck, but I really just probably should have held on to this. Not too sure like what the better play could have been here, because at the end of the duel, at the end of the turn, I still am just going to get Mystic Mind. He activates Duality, activates the top 3, he adds Upstart, and then he attempts to activate Upstart, but then I have to remind him, hey, you activated Pot of Extravagance, you can't draw. So returns it back to hand. He sets Skill Drain, activates Mind Pass. Yeah, this is not that fun of a duel from here. I draw into a Sanguine, unphase, Sanguine effect from grave, banish itself, set a conk. Then goes, as you see, he's playing Threatening Roar, Lava Golem. Yeah, this was not a fun match to say at the very least. Dualities into Wapaku. At this point, I just have to eventually just outgrind all his resources. So in phase, I just conk, pop mine. And here, I should have done Sanguine, but at the same time, it really wouldn't have done much besides refuel my Eldlich engine. My thought process behind this was, oh, maybe I should go into Gustav Max and try to burn, but skill drain was up, so at this point I knew I was in the long run when it came to the grind game. I didn't have another option. So as you see here, he drew another Threatening Roar. He has 2 Threatening Roars set, so he's good for the next 2 turns. He's not going to die. So end phase up when I Sanguine. I'm drawing to Unizombie, not doing much because I am under skill drain. So I just Sanguine effect, banish itself, set the conk, and I pass, and he draws into a mine. Doesn't matter too much because end phase, I just mine him. I just conk pop the mine. It was kind of annoying because I was trying to save the conk for the skill drain, since at that point I could have just Gustav max burn, but of course he had a threatening roar, so I just link off 3 into a Soldier of Chaos, since I'm thinking, okay, I should just be able to kill next turn. But standby phase, Doom King, he lava golems me, getting rid of the Baylor Drock and Soldier of Chaos. At this point, I just don't even bother to do Doom King's effect. I just wanted to get the duel over with. He Book of Eclipses me, which was annoying. So at this point, I had a decision to make whether I wait till end phase and flip everything up to draw 3, or to just activate Prosperity and hope to draw into the Imperial Order. So I decided to Potter Prosperity, banish 6 to try to get to the Order. What do you know? I get to it. So opponent sees I pick up Imperial Order, and from here, obviously LOL, he just leaves the duel. So now 186, 14 away from 200. This match was not fun whatsoever. I'm glad he quit after game 1, because this would have been a boring 2 games. Now on to the 5th and final duel. 186 ranking to 67. Finally going to level up to 200 if I happen to win this. But rock, paper, scissors, tie the first time, and I finally win. Let's go! It couldn't have happened at a better time, since opponent is on Adagnister, and Zombie Roll just completely destroys the deck. First move, I activate Curse, pay 8, feel great, go to and Golden Land Forever. Main line of play was going to have Sucker plus Halki Fibrex set up with a set Super Poly, draw it to an opponent's turn, and I would also have the Sanguine plus Golden Land Forever. So I start off with Unizombie effect, discard Lord from hand, second effect to send Banshee, and right when I send Banshee, opponent just scoops. I don't blame him. Adagnisters cannot do anything to this deck under Zombie Road. Well, they can't even function properly, since everything is a Cybers, and Zombie Road just locks their entire deck, since it just makes everything turn into a zombie. He bricked pretty bad, didn't have any line of play, so he just sets 1 pass. Comes over to me. I see no point in just shotgunning Duster right here, so I try to see if he will try to do something or try to bait out the back row before I commit to anything. I activate Curse Outland, pay 8, feel great. He ashes, but I respond with a called by. To negate the ash, I go add Lord, and at this point, I don't see really that big of a point to keep the Duster, since it only is 1 back row. So I send Lord with the Duster to pop, just a Solemn Strike. So at this point, activate Lord effect from grave, sending the Curse Outland. He Skullmeisters me. It was okay. It wasn't too bad, since end phase I just would have gone Sanguine, and I just would have done it the other way. But land effect to Ghost of the Kong. I then activate Prosperity, since at this point he quit on me the first time just when I activated Zombie World, so I'm just digging for a Zombie World at this point, and I found it. And to make the situation even better, I have a Solemn Strike plus a Bloom, then I have a Sanguine for the follow-up, and he has 2 cards left in hand. This is basically GG's at this point. Opponent knows it as well. I normal summon Bloom effect, go summon the Doom King, but before I get a chance, he just quits. And the good news was we made it to 200 ranking with this. If you made it to the end, I hope that you enjoyed this content, and don't forget to drop a sub and a like. I will try to have new episodes out every 3 to 7 days, as they do take some time due to editing and commentating, which I am both fairly new to. As the series does progress further on, as we also climb up the ladder, we will be facing tougher opponents as well as tougher matchups, which will only translate into better gameplay as well as longer episodes. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next one.